What's going on, everybody? It's Big T with GreenWallSt.com. I run a trading community designed to help you become part of the 5% of traders who actually make money in the markets. And today I want to talk about 5 of the biggest and most common mistakes that new traders entering the market tend to make, and why a majority of them do not end up reaching the goals that they initially set out for themselves. So one of the most common and probably the biggest mistakes that new traders make is that they do not practice trading before they put real money on the line. And I think it's because people don't give trading the respect that it deserves, and they don't really understand. If they see it as a game of luck, as a game of chance, and certainly there's elements of luck and chance in trading, but they don't see it as a game of skill, and therefore they don't need to practice. They can just come in, make a few guesses, and hopefully they hit something big. It would be very similar to someone who's never played poker before. They don't understand the rules of poker, they don't know the best hands, they don't know the probability of each hand, and they expect to sit down and just start playing against some of the best players in the world, and they wonder why in a month or two all their chips are gone. You'd give yourself a much better chance of success playing poker if you were to play online with fake money for a number of months and actually learn all of the skills necessary to make the most informed choices and put probability on your side, instead of just sitting down at the table assuming it's all luck and all chance, and then again all your chips are gone. So the way to fix this, very simple. You paper trade and you practice. You find someone who can show you opportunities in the market and you practice trading them, because even though you can spot opportunities, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to execute on it properly when there's money on the line. So you need to practice these over and over and hone your skill set. That way, when you do have real money on the line, you'll be able to execute in the moment and make the right decisions. Second most common mistake is setting unrealistic expectations for yourself. Most people come into the market with a small sum of money, maybe it's $2,000, $5,000, and they want to turn that into $1 million, or they want to turn it into $100,000, which of course is a lofty goal, and that is definitely possible. You can do that in the market over time, but one of the cliche sayings is people they underestimate what they can do. They overestimate what they can do in a year, and they underestimate what they can do in 10 years. So a lot of people, instead of taking that 6 months to paper trade and then taking another 6 months to practice with really small size in the market, they want to just jump in and they want to do it all right then, right now, which really ties into not practicing, which is mistake number 1. These two kind of go hand in hand, not practicing and setting unrealistic expectations. So you have to take a longer term view. You have to understand that it's pretty complex, and there's a lot of things that you need to learn, understand, and see and experience in order to profit from it the next time that you see it. And you might need to see something multiple times before you're able to execute on it, and that is going to take time. So while it's possible to take a small sum of money and turn it into a lot of money, you will need experience first, and that is going to take time. So instead of thinking about what you can do in 6 months or a year, think about what you can do over the course of 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, if you were to take a considerable amount of time to practice and learn. You'll have that skill set for the rest of your life. That's the bigger picture goal in mind. That's how you hit the 100,000. That's how you hit the million and beyond. So the third most common mistake I see people make is trying to figure it all out on their own. A lot of people are too prideful in order to admit things that they don't know. Not everybody, but a lot of people when they enter the markets, especially successful people in other industries, maybe they've been successful in business or they've been successful in anything else, they think that that's going to directly translate into trading in the markets. And because they don't need your help, with something else, they think they don't need your help in the markets either. And unfortunately, it just does not work that way. The market does not care how successful you were in another occupation. Whenever you come to the markets, you're on an even playing field, and you are entering a realm in which you just don't know the game yet, and you don't know the best practices, and the easiest way to learn those things is to find the people who are doing it well and emulate what they do. So instead of taking 3 or 4 years to find out that buying breakouts or buying penny stocks or whatever doesn't work, it's very easy to find someone who already has that experience and already knows that, to kind of show you the ropes and show you where to put your focus, because markets are vast. There's tons of different strategies. There's tons of different mistakes and pitfalls and traps that you are bound to fall into. So find the people who have already fell into the traps and have the scars and the bruises to prove it. And that way, maybe you won't completely sidestep that, but you'll be aware of the problems, the mistakes, the traps, and you'll be able to conquer those rather easily instead of having to find all that out on your own through trial and error. The fourth most common mistake has to do with how you view trading results. So a lot of amateur traders and people that are just getting into the market, they are very outcome focused. They are focused on making the $1,000 a day, the $2,000 a day. They want to make $20,000 a month. They want to, whatever it is, $100,000 a year, $1 million a year. They're very focused on the outcome, and they let the outcome affect their decisions in the moment. Whereas professional traders and those of us who are making that kind of money, we're not focused on the actual money. The money is a result of the process of good trading. So good traders and professional traders are focused on the process that they've built. They're focused on the best entries, focusing on the best stocks, focusing on actually trading well, and they're process driven as opposed to outcome driven. When you're driven by the outcome, it affects the decisions that you make in real time, because you might be down on a trade, but the trade's not actually wrong, but you see that you're losing money and you know that you don't want to lose money, so you end up bailing out of a trade before it's wrong, and then it goes in the right direction. Or if you've taken a string of losses and that, that third, say you've taken 2 losses in a row and that third trade starts to work, well, you think, shit, I don't want that to turn around and be a third loss in a row, so I need to hurry up and snatch that profit. And you end up, holding on to losing trades too long. You've heard it before, and you cut your winners too early. But that is a result of focusing on the outcome and not focusing on good trading. If you focus on building good habits and trading well, at the end of the day, you look at the P&L. At the end of the month, you look at the P&L. At the end of the year, you look at the P&L. People who are too focused on the money don't actually end up making the money. People who are making the most money trading, they love trading. They love finding the best entries, the best exits. They love perfecting, how they scale into trades, how they scale out of trades. They focus relentlessly on execution of their process, and they let the profits be what it is. And that's, certainly something that separates amateur traders from professionals. And last but not least, I think the fifth most common mistake I see people making whenever they come into the markets is they refuse to give up control. And one of the things that you're going to have to come to realize in trading is that you don't control the outcome of the stocks. And this goes back to being process driven versus outcome driven. But whenever you put on a trade, you are in a world of probability. There is, an infinite number of things that can happen. One person, say I'm short a stock, for example, and I'm betting that it will go down. All it takes is one person on the other side of the country or the other side of the world to decide that they want to buy a shitload of this stock in this moment, and my trade is done. But that doesn't necessarily mean it was a bad trade. So what will happen is people want to force their bias onto the market. They'll see an opportunity, and if it doesn't work their way, they will think that they inherently did something wrong, or they are a bad trader and they shouldn't do that again, instead of looking at it objectively and saying, okay, this had roughly a 60 to 70% chance of working. It just didn't, so I'm on to the next trade. Instead, they hold on tight to that. They internalize that loss. They can't stop thinking about it. They let it affect their decision making going into the next trade instead of letting the market do what it will. The best you can do as a trader is find these high probability setups, ones that have positive expectancy in the market, whether that's a really good risk reward ratio or whether that setup works, 70, 80% of the time. But once you put the trade on, most people cannot just let go. You have to let go and let the market do what it will, and not according to whatever the outcome is. You can't be too happy when it works, and you can't be too sad when it loses, because you didn't control it. Whenever you're playing poker, for example, and you have pocket aces and you go all in pre-flop and you end up losing the hand, somebody else calls you with, a pair of threes and they flop a 3 and then you lose, you know that you did the right thing. Probability was on your side, and therefore you don't feel bad because you would do the same thing again. Next time you get pocket aces, are you just not gonna bet? Of course not. You would always bet. Trading is the exact same thing. But people, whenever they take those bad beats or they lose on a trade that does have positive expectancy, they think they did something wrong, they internalize it, they get upset about it, instead of just accepting the fact that you don't control it. You don't control the market. You cannot control the outcome. All you can do is put the trade on and let go. Let Jesus take the wheel. So those are 5 of the most common and definitely the biggest mistakes that I see people making. There's certainly more, but those are, the biggest and most common that come to mind. GreenWallSt.com, we are running a 5-day free trial if you would like to learn how to trade stocks yourself. And thank you all for tuning into the video. I will catch you right back here next time. Peace out, everybody.